morning and welcome to Cultivated Live for Friday, April 5th. My name is Jay Rosenthal. I'm the co-founder of Cultivated Media and the host of Cultivated Live, which is what we do here every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on our LinkedIn page and on our YouTube page. And since we launched, our goal at Cultivated has been to be cannabis industry professional first. We provide the cannabis industry with the most important, insightful, useful information to our audience on a daily basis. We do it through a daily newsletter, which we hope you will subscribe to. We also do it through this daily live stream right here on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And we're going to get to the news because a lot is happening in cannabis on this Friday. We're going to start in New York. Okay, try to follow along with what happened yesterday in New York. A state Supreme Court judge issued an order declaring all of the state's recreational cannabis regulations as unlawful and in legalese void of arbitrary and capricious. Okay, so in other words, so it was yet another blow to the state's Office of Cannabis Management that the rules they set out were arbitrary and capricious. But get this. Later in the day, the judge corrected the order to say that the only unlawful parts were the specific marketing regulations rather than the entire regulatory structure of New York cannabis. So a pretty big correction that came later in the day. Now, the ruling stems from a September lawsuit filed by cannabis site Leafly, where Leafly claims the OCM unfairly targeted them and other third-party marketing platforms by preventing product promotion and marketing. It's essentially a free speech by marketing case, and it's another lawsuit that the OCM has to contend with right in the middle of Governor Hochul's top-down review of the actual organization. But despite the holy shit headline takeaway and midday fear, some smart cannabis lawyers say that the end result is still up in the air. Jeffrey Schultz from Foley Hoag told Cultivated that a potential outcome of the order is that the OCM will file a notice and the ruling will be stayed for 30 days, and the specific marketing and advertising regulations are likely to get rewritten, but not the entire package. Fatima Afia, an attorney at Ruddock Law Group, cautioned that while she doesn't have a crystal ball, she says that a 30-day stay is likely. She also agrees with Schultz that the specific marketing and advertising regulations are likely to be rewritten, but not the whole package. So we will wait and see what tomorrow brings. Leafly, for their part, issued a statement following the ruling and the correction, saying, "We are pleased to hear that the court agreed with our claims, and we couldn't be more excited to support consumers and licensed retailers in New York with Leafly's full suite of products and services. We hope this decision ultimately leads to a healthy, stable adult use market in the state," end quote. We want that too, Leafly. We want that too. So stay tuned for what's going to happen with this lawsuit and the outcome. But if that wasn't enough, Gracious Greens, a cannabis company, on March 29th, filed a lawsuit against the OCM, challenging the requirement to have at least a 1,000-foot buffer between dispensaries. So it never really ends in New York, but hopefully we get to a stable market at some point soon. And to Florida, we know that on Monday, the ballot measure was decided to go forward. And yesterday, we learned what the governor's position will be on it. Here it is. It will reduce the quality of life. Do we want to have more marijuana in our communities? I don't think it'll work out well, but it is a very, very broad amendment. That's what Governor Ron DeSantis said. Now, he's a conservative Republican, of course. He expects, he said, Florida voters to reject the proposal. He previously voiced opposition to legalization, though he has received campaign donations from the cannabis industry. So we will see where his support goes as this goes on. But yesterday he did say he was going to encourage voters to vote against it. A little bit further north, but another big state, Ohio voters approved cannabis, adult use cannabis last year. But as close industry followers know, voting yes and then going live can be a very, very long journey. We learned this week that the sales could begin as early as late this summer. We also got a glimpse of some of the rules and regs that make govern Ohio's market. It was a 45-page overview of how things might roll out. Here are some of the details. Dispensaries could be open longer hours to accommodate adult use sales. Orders could be allowed to be placed online. That's great news. Self-service kiosks could get the nod. And Ohio could get some drive-through cannabis dispensaries, which is super cool given Ohio, especially bad weather sometimes of the year, is much more for people who love diving into the regulations. There's a link on cultivated.news so you can actually read it for yourself. Here's a little note. We often talk about New York and Florida, especially this week, but especially over the past few months. But Ohio is the 7th largest state in the union with almost 12 million people. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. as well. If you think about what's happening in Pennsylvania with the governor pushing for adult use, you combine neighboring states, Ohio and Pennsylvania, that's over 25 million people, which is several million more people than either New York or Florida. So those two states combined, if they come online, will have a massive, massive impact. Back to Ohio, there's a public comment period open through April 24th. So after you read those 45 pages and want to have your say, you have until April 24th. That is it for today's Cultivated Live. We encourage you to subscribe to our daily newsletter at cultivated.news. Follow us on LinkedIn. Smash the subscribe button on YouTube. We will see you back here Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn and on YouTube. We have a great week lining up for next week with some fun and interesting announcements, so stay tuned for that. Remember, as you head out onto your weekend, buy cannabis at your local dispensary and have a safe weekend, everybody.